Welcome to this little life where I will eat some um, peanut butter bread and answer your questions. So it's a kind of Q&A for all my subscribers. Basically, I thought, oh, maybe it's good for only the paid subscribers as a kind of premium thing. But you know what? It's good for all. All of you maybe have great insights, great questions. Um, Please, if you feel for sharing something, this is the space for it. So obviously you need to write it. I guess I can also include somebody, but not sure how this works yet. Yeah, intense, Amanda. Yeah, it is intense. Tomorrow, or in about, I think it's in about 13 hours, the transit finally will change from the 35-36 channel, this jack of all trades, the channel of transitoriness that we had since beginning of December. It will change. So the 35 will move out of, I don't know which planetary position right now, but it will move. So tomorrow, all of the people who are not emotionally defined, they should feel a big difference because, over a couple of months, when you always have this transit, when you always get kind of conditioned by this energy, it's pretty it's pretty tricky to not fall for it and identify with it because it's such a long time, and you easily just fall into this and identify. And then, yeah, when the transit changes, usually it's like a big shift. It's like, whoa, this is how it feels without this. Interesting. So let's see tomorrow um, how it will be. Maybe tomorrow will be a big relief, like finally, this is gone. Obviously, for all the people who are emotional, and it will not be a big change because they will still be emotional. But even though if they don't have this channel in their chart, it will be a difference for sure. It will be different. Manda wrote, I do my best to stay centered in my heart. Yes, for sure. Whatever the tools you use, for me, I don't even know. I think I just like to lay down and watch something or just daydream, listen to music, move my body a bit, or eat something nice, spoil myself, talk, share, share about what I sense, what I feel. This can help a lot. There's many ways. Breathing, so many ways how to, get balance. Amanda, you ask, is human design the same as human cosmic design? Mm, if you mean by human cosmic design, the different calculation of Richard something, Richard Richard R. I guess the basis of it, that there's a body graph and that we have 9 centers and that there's types and different auras and that there's channels that connect the centers. I guess that's the same, but the calculation is different. Richard claims that the calculation should be sidereal instead of tropical. There's 2 different ways how to calculate planetary positions. There's the tropical way. This is what NASA and other institutions use. They use a tropical way of calculate the positions where they set the Earth as the center and the rotation around is, so to say, calculated with telescopes and mathematical equations. And sidereal is a bit different, and even in sidereal, there's different ways, there's true sidereal and this is basically Vedic Eastern astrology uses sidereal calculations. Mm. Tropical is more the Western astrology and what NASA and ESA and all of those institutions use. And if you go and look for ephemeris, the databases with planetary positions in the sky, this is all tropical as far as I know. Sidereal is often referred because you just wrote, yes, I'm aware of both. Sidereal is what is happening in the sky in the now. Yes, I cannot really tell you that because it has to do with how you want to look at it. You know, But yeah, some people say, oh, sidereal is the only real thing that you can observe right now. But it's also about from which perspective, where you stand, which point of view do you have about this calculation, and for what is this calculation used? As far as I know, the official human design, the original human design by Ra Uru Hu, the founder of human design and the messenger of human design. If you go into one of his first books, the Black Book, and also in the White Book, I guess he mentions it. It is, and also in other transcripts, it is always tropical calculation that is used. It's never sidereal, and I don't think that this guy made such a big mistake, no. So tropical calculation is for the original human design. And of course, there's other things that are used. I'm not necessarily against any of this. I just know that you need to be careful, because the information you receive through a human design chart about yourself, it can really be transforming, because it enters, and obviously in the beginning we always take something in and we believe it a bit and we try and experiment with it. So I recommend the original human design, and if you're grounded into this and really have some experience and experimented with this, then maybe you can look at other sources and other things and find something interesting out for yourself. Yeah. Amanda wrote, I feel like I have an etheric flu and I'm laying in bed with a rose quartz on my heart. I can I can understand what you mean. I'm I guess the last week was pretty intense. I mean, I don't know. I cannot really tell you exactly, but maybe even the last couple of weeks were pretty intense. And I found myself often laying just in bed and like, what the hell, man? Why I'm procrastinating, and I should be productive, and I could and I must and I should and I need, and my mind, going busy, I should, and all of this. But my body just wanted to rest. My body just wanted to lay down and do nothing. And this is exactly what it's about. Human design is the most yin system, knowledge, information that I, in my experience, ever encountered. It is really about the body. It is saying the body is everything. The body is the temple. The body is the life, not the mind. It's not just because you think, I want this, that suddenly you will have it. No, it's about the body. It's about the body's capacities, potentials, limitations, differentiations, all of this. Mara, you are 4-1 emotional generator. Wow, pretty fixed, huh? The 4-1s. It's very special is a word that you can use, but yeah, it's a special profile you have. It's really the bridge between two worlds, so to say. I know some 4-1 people in my life. I have them in my life. My sister, for example. So I kind of know how this profile, this costume acts. Interesting. Amanda says, I truly don't know what I am by design. It started for me today, feeling like that. Yin, love, that, yes. Amanda, if you don't know what you are by design, you can go with the original. You can go to bodygraph.io. I will just put it here. Bodygraph.io. And you just put in your data. You will see your chart. And then you can let me know what this is actually saying. And the thing is, it's not about knowing it. It's about experimenting and finding out if the information is true. If it's about if the information that is presented to you is really something that will help you, support you, ground you. And it's not about having a better life. It's not about this. I often heard this from people who half-heartedly, more mentally went into human design and looked for why it's not possible. And human design is not spiritual, for example. It feels spiritual, but it is not spiritual. It is a very logical system. It's explaining in our language mechanisms, frequencies, things that we sense and know and see and observe. It explains those things in language that almost everybody can understand, or at least gets a kind of picture for it, or grasping for it, So the chart you see in front of you when you look at your human design chart, this is not you, obviously. This is just a chart. But it shows you what makes you, or it claims that it can show you what makes you different from all the others, from all the world, because you are unique. And if you really understand what that means to be unique, uniqueness contains the possibility for us as humans to have ultimate peace, because we cannot compare it with, we cannot compare each other. I cannot compare myself with this because I am unique and this is unique too. You know what I mean? This is impossible without mental comparison to have anything that is usually detrimental for us emotionally and so on, this typical scenes of such an asshole because he did that, blah blah. But how do I discern if this person is this or that? It's because I take myself, my experience, my perspective, my limited perspective too, into comparison towards the other. And because I would never do this and I would do it very differently, this one is wrong and this one is right, or whatever, But this has nothing to do with uniqueness. Hey, W from Berlin, another 4-1 emotional generator. Wow, I mean, the 4-1 emotional generators are in the building, huh? I hope you're good. Ich hoffe, dir geht's gut. A little bit of German. I don't speak German quite often, actually, because I live in Portugal, and there's not so much German language used here. But I'm still able to speak German. Yeah, I lost track now, but uniqueness. If you understand uniqueness, your life gets better automatically, because everything becomes a joke. All this comparing, judging, measuring mental things. This is not for you. It's not for your life. It's not that you need this to make a decision. And by the way, it's not you who makes the decision. We always just think that we make the decision, but actually the body already made the decision and the mind just translates it and says, oh, I had a great idea. We should do this. But the body already decided that we will going to do this or not. It's the same with, your body gives you an impulse that you need to go to the toilet, and your mind translates it like, oh, I guess I need to pee. And this is with everything. Claudia, tell us about your story. How did you get into the topic of human design? Well, okay, I can talk about this a bit, yeah, if you want. So 2017, I had some kind of crisis. It was also my Saturn return. This is a big, moment in life for everybody, especially if you have a 6th line in your profile in human design. But even for everybody else, the Saturn return is something where you really go from one phase, more like of the phase where you're protected, you go into another phase where the gods, the planets, will not be so kind anymore, They will test you. They will see if you learned your lesson so far. So I had this crisis, and I lost my partner, and I lost my apartment, and I lost my business, and it was like my whole foundation was just uh, pulled away. So I was almost feeling like I'm floating. And I always wanted to travel more, and I always wanted to just let go of this typical life. I'm a third line. I want to try things. So I wanted to see how long and how will it be? How long can I survive with what I have? So I had a backpack. I had 35 euros. I had some friends that I could call and maybe sleep over. My business was gone. I had a computer. I had some clothes. So I just started to travel. And invitations came in, invitation to this place, invitation to that place. And I had no idea about human design. But people invited me. And I used Facebook as a kind of journey journal, like a like a daily output of what I experience. Today I'm here and I experienced this and I'm grateful for that and blah blah blah. So people could have some, they could kind of watch me in this process of trying to live without money, trying to live a life without security and foundation, in the sense of fixed job, fixed apartment, insurance, all of this. And at one point, I think it was in end of 2017, I heard the first time about human design. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting, but I knew those things. I always investigated into those things. I was very interested in spirituality, esoterics, mysticism. There was Enneagram, a little bit of astrology, but this never really hooked me. Um, Tarot cards, and I liked Lenormand cards better than tarot. I was already into this kind of bubble and all of this stuff. So I looked into this and I was like, wow, this is, I don't need this. I already went through my hell, so to say, of having fears and insecurities, because when you're really letting go of those mundane, typical things, it's not easy. In the first half year, I really thought all the time, like, wow, how will I do this? How will I survive? And there was so much existential fear. But life proved to me, like, hey, relax, bro, relax, lean back, everything will come. So I found a lot of trust. I found a lot of trust and faith in life. The second time was 2018. I think it was like in the first quarter of 2018, where a manifestor friend posted about human design on YouTube. And I was subscribed to his channel, and it was popped up in my YouTube feed. And I clicked on it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I look into this again, because he really like, wow, this is so interesting. And I'm a manifestor and blah, blah, blah. And this means this and this. And so obviously he was not an expert. He just encountered it himself. And, he's a free spirit who likes to explore different things. So there was a homepage that he put in the video description. I clicked on it. I read a bit. I was like, oh, interesting. And then there was this create your chart. So I created my chart, and I was disappointed. I was like, I'm not a manifester. What is this shit? I'm a projector, and a projector cannot work, and blah, 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 and no energy. And I was like, I don't want to be a projector. I don't need this. And as I said, I already had a lot of faith in life. I received invitations. I lived life and made decisions in the way of how I was guided. I was guided by life, so to say. So I rejected it. And then a third time, it was in June 2018. I was traveling, and then there was a woman, and she said, I would really like to meet you. I have a friend, and there is some resemblance between both of you. Maybe I can connect you with him. I also see that you have back issues because of the backpack, and I'm a massage therapist, or whatever this is called. Please come over. I have enough space. You can stay here for a couple of days. I would love to give you a massage. And I was like, okay, I got to say yes to that. It felt very uh, inviting and recognizing, and it didn't feel sketchy or weird. And so I went there, and it was nice. And the first thing because I arrived in the evening, and on the next day, she said to me, I have a surprise for you. I was like, but this is already a surprise. You gave me food. I can sleep here. You gave me a massage. wow, I don't want to take any more. This is more, way more than I need. She said, no, no, no. I have a friend, and he makes human design, and I would like to gift you a human design reading. I was like, I heard about this, I'm not interested. I don't need this. You see, I live my life very anarchistic. I live like a savage. I sleep outside in the woods, in the forest, or sometimes inside. I have a good life. I don't need money, but money comes. And she said, what can you lose? I was like, okay, yeah, well, okay, let's try. Let's try. So I gave my data to this guy. It was a reflector. He learned from Ra, and he made this reading for me. I don't know how, I guess it was 1.5 hours. Also some PDFs from the Maya Mechanics, or what is it, Maya Mechanics Imaging, this software, official software. He sent me some PDFs with cryptic text where I had no idea about what it means, with all these numbers and stuff. But the reading, wow, the reading really hit me. I was kind of shook, I was like, how the hell does this guy know all of these things? He said things about me that were so, because usually I'm more introvert. I maybe don't seem introvert, but I'm introvert. I'm not so open with all of those things, especially in those days. Back then I wasn't so open with all of this that everybody knew how I feel and all of this. But he said a lot of things about me, about struggles, about topics in my life that not even my brother knew about me. So I'm a very suspicious person, and I'm doubtful, and I want to know why, and I want to investigate, because I'm a 1-3. I'm a mental projector. I have the 63, the gate of doubt. And so I sat down, and he already invited me to study human design, and he gave me some documents. Here, there you go. Study it, because an invitation, and please, this is very important, an invitation needs to come with some kind of effort or exchange. Okay. If there's a projector, you say, oh, I invite you to study human design. Okay, yeah, but this is not really an invitation. This is maybe meant in a good way, but an invitation would say, and here is a book where you can start. Here I help you with my energy, my money, my resources for the first step, for example. So this guy did this. So I had some material. I looked in this material. I checked it. I checked my reading again. I wrote everything down. I drew my chart. I spoke with people. I reflected. And after a while, I say, for me, my experiment radically began 2018 August. So in June, I had my reading. So almost 2 months later, I felt like I am already really radically experimenting with this, because I wanted to see if it works. My starting point was actually to debunk it, to find the flaw, to prove that it's not true, that it's just another logical thing that is not logical in the end, and blah blah blah. And now, almost 7 years later, I became a guide. I became a kind of expert. You know, obviously, there's still a lot of stuff to learn, and I still have my not self, and I make my mistakes. And I don't always know how to make a decision, even though I know I'm not making the decision. But, it's not always easy. I have my ups and downs. This is life. But I feel much more aware of who I am. I feel more aware of the world. I feel more aware in my partnership. I feel more calm and relaxed, and I can stay more calm and relaxed. I can stay more what human design claims is me, and what I sense over the years. This is really my core, you know? So, yeah, this is the journey. And obviously, I continued this journey as a nomad for some more years, and since the last 2 years, a bit more, I am in Portugal, kind of stranded here. I teach human design here every now and then. I created some groups. Well, not created, but I was invited to speak with a kind of, it's a kind of human design cafe where we meet and greet. And now it's changed to the name of Lab 64. So it's always continuing. Human design is coming and coming and coming again and again and again. And I always had my doubts every now and then. It's like, no, let's let it go. Do your own thing again. Go against what is said. So, but this is what experimenting is about. So please, I would like to encourage you. Human design is not just to read and study and know. Oh yeah, I have this, I have that, and blah blah blah. It's not about that. For if you are a generator, for example, the only thing, I can give you a reading as a generator with only 2 sentences. The first sentence would be, let your aura do the work by receiving what you attract. And the second sentence would be, and then on response, you will sense what is correct for you and you go for it. And this is the first thing. The only necessity for you as a generator to start experimenting. For a projector, it's a bit different. It takes a bit more time and a bit more effort in the sense of studying and understanding because it's a very different mode. But yeah, it's about experimenting. It's not about believing. It's not about a new dogma. It's not about thinking through and being intellectual with it. It's not about that. It's a physical knowledge. It's body. I hope that gives you some insight in my journey so far. Amanda said, is it the profile that will tell you? I'm sorry, I don't know what this is regards. And then you wrote 4-6 projector. You are a 4-6 projector, Amanda. So 4-6 is an opportunistic role model. And a projector is here to guide others on invitation. So your job is not here to work in a classical sense, 9-to-5 jobs every day, all the time, consistently. This is not really what is good for you. It's not about that you cannot do it. Obviously you can, but it's not something that is beneficial for you in the sense of fulfilling your purpose. Your purpose lays in connecting with your network. It's about caring for your network. It's about staying in a good shape with your network, and everything comes from your network. All the invitations for love, for job, for career, for health, for everything comes from your friends and family, comes from your network. And it needs to be something that is very special, that is very delicious, that is very beautiful, because you are a 4-6, and the 6 looks for the utopian, the fairy tale. And as a projector, you're here to see. Okay? So all the projectors are here to see. We're here to see. And what do we see? We see who has energy and who has energy for what. Where is energy needed, and how can we guide this energy to be more efficient, that it will lead us to something that is successful. Whatever it is, I hope that gives you some insight in what the profile is. It's like the costume. And it's not something that we are right away having fully unlocked. We all live a life of not self, conditioning all the time. We get born, and the first thing is that our parents tell us what we should do and could do and cannot do, and how we should act and how we should behave, and what we should say and what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat. All these rules and laws and punishments and tricks and manipulation. And, it's not that they are mean or bad or negative. This is just how we got trained as humans to treat other humans. It's not like that you go home and your mother says, oh, hey, I know you had a rough day at school. Do you have energy to help me? And you maybe go as a generator, uh-huh. And then the mother says, oh, that's lovely. Can you please bring out the trash for me? This is not gonna happen in a normal family. In a normal family, you come home from school as a kid totally exhausted because it's not really the thing that you like, and maybe it's the wrong place and all of this. And your mother maybe says, oh, okay, bring out the trash. Before you sit down, bring out the trash. It's an order. We always get told what we should do. Nobody should get told what he or she should do. This is not how it works. Especially not as a generator, and the majority of people are generators. They're here to respond. And if you're an emotional generator, you're here to respond multiple times. Or maybe your mother says, can you help me with bringing out the trash? And you go, can you ask me again? You need multiple times to question. You cannot answer in the now. This is all those nuances that make human design so valuable, especially when it's about partnership, when it's about child development, when it's about connecting, communicating, businesses, whatever includes communication and communion between people. Because we can see, understand what the other energetically is, needs, wants, can do, or can't. A W. wrote, yesterday, I wrote my chart by hand. It is very interesting to see it more clearly. Some gates are at different places, and I was thinking about the second number behind the gate number. Line numbers, ? Why is there another number? I mean 38.1 and 29.3. That's a beautiful question. And it's a beautiful thing you did. I even created a kind of template book with human design charts, blank human design charts, so people can draw it out and draw in their gates and see and feel. It helped me a lot to draw my chart a couple of times. I don't know how often I did it, but it helped me to see how the energy flows and what it's about and where does what go. And I have gate 10 3 times. I didn't know before. And obviously everybody learns in a different way, but for me, I like this visual thing. I like to use my hands for it. I like this. The number behind the gate number, for example, you have, let's say you have gate 17. It's an easy example. Let's have you have gate 17. Then you can have gate 17 in the first. I just see. You used my blank templates. Amazing. Cool. Very cool. Thank you very much for supporting me. If you have gate 17, that gate 17 is the gate of opinions. It's up there at the Ajna Center. This is this triangle up there. Gate of opinions. Okay, everybody can understand what opinions means. Okay, it's a mental concept that is logical. It's an opinion that seeks for a thesis, seeks for details that it can really be proven to be an opinion that is based in facts and not just a story, because a story is something different. But now opinions can be expressed in different ways, and the whole topic, the whole theme about opinions can have different nuances. And it's also the process of how to get to a final opinion. So you can see it like this. The number behind the gate, 17 dot, comes the line, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. There's always only 6 different lines for each gate. So now you could say the following. It's very interesting to think about it. We could say there's 64 gates, and each can have 6 different lines. Or we could say there's 6 lines, 6 steps in the process of life, and each of those 6 steps can be expressed in 64 different ways. I like this version even a bit better, because it tells you that the line quality, the line is really something that it's almost like a pillar. It's so interesting, the lines. Okay. So if you have the first line, gate 17, opinions, first line is insecure. So 17.1, insecure with opinions. or it's investigating opinions. Second line, it's the line of the hermit. It's the line of somebody who is shy or bold. It's the line of somebody who likes to withdraw and likes to be, more alone. And it's also the line of being talented. So the 17-2, you could say this is about being talented or gifted about opinions, but you're not really here to share them because you cannot explain them, because you don't study them. You just kind of know. 17-3, third line is about making mistakes. This is about experimenting with opinions, for example. Can be right, can be wrong. The fourth line is very fixed. So this is fixed opinions, very fixed opinions. 17-4 is also a gate that you can see in teachers. There's the 11-4 on the other side, the mirror, and the 17-4. This can be kind of a teaching aspect because it's so fixed. It's here to have a fixed way. It's here to have an opportunistic way of influencing about the opinion. And then there's the 5, the 17-5 is called no man is an island. Yeah, it's true. No man is an island because you cannot. We are all interconnected. Nobody stands alone. And this is the same for an opinion. An opinion cannot stand alone. It's a collective process. An opinion is shaped by a lot of different people with a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different details and logical equations and formulas and theses until this opinion becomes valuable. And the fifth line is about universalizing an opinion or having a universal opinion or being paranoid about opinions. So the 5 steps, this is really what it's about in life. 5 steps. Okay. The first step is, okay, you research. The second step is you got to have some talent. The third step is, okay, you try and error. The fourth step is you give it to your friends, you influence a bit. Oh, have a read here. I wrote this. Is it good? Is it bad? And the fifth step is you finally bring it out as a product for the collective. So what about the sixth? Because the sixth line. The sixth line looks already beyond the process and says, we could do something else even. We could go beyond opinions. We can go beyond this, and maybe there's even another opinion inside of that opinion. The sixth line is the transition to something new. So I hope that gives you some insight in why there is another line behind and what does it mean. I would say it's a precision of the potential. So the precision of opinions. You can have different ways of opinion. I hope that helps. Can I say something about the planets? I guess I can. Each planet, you got to see it as a quality. Okay. And for example, we know that the moon has influence on us, especially women. They will almost all will tell you, yeah, I can see that sometimes I really sync with the moon when I have my period, and this is really affecting me. And the moon is something you can sense as a human being. For example, when it's full moon, a lot of people have issues falling asleep, or when there's full moon, maybe some people get more irritated, or you can sense it. And obviously, the moon in some way is also affecting the water, how it moves, and so on. We also know that the sun is affecting us because if the sun has a big radiation, we can sense that it's a lot for us, UV index or solar storms, that can shut down the whole electricity in a specific country or whatever. So the sun has also some impact on us. Obviously, this is something that, people will say this is pseudoscience. This is not real science and blah, 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 because you cannot measure it and it's only subjective. Yeah, okay. So let's say it's a subjective science. Now, human design claims, and astrology too, by the way, and other systems too, that each planet has a specific quality. And when we go back hundreds, maybe thousands of years, astrologers and astronomers too, because back in the days, those two things were one, they gave those planets specific qualities or potentials or meanings. Venus is love, and Mars is the young uh, martyr, or uh, the moon is about emotions, the sun is the father, the earth is the mother, and so on. It's always these specific keynotes for planets. In human design, we don't use the same keynotes that are given by astrology, but similar ones. And I will not talk about all of them, but it basically means you can look at your chart and you can even dive deeper into those aspects by looking at, okay, for example, your personality sun, okay, the black side. I need to check now how you see me. So on the right side of your chart, for me, this is right here. On the right side of your chart, there is black numbers and black planetary symbols. Hey, Dawn, I hope you're good. Thanks for joining. If you have a question, please let me know. We just talk about the planets right now. So you have the black side, you look at the planets. And for example, the first one is this circle, and there's a dot in the middle. This is the symbol for the sun. And on the personality side, it's more about mind. It's about the personality. It's not about the body so much. So you could say, this is where your personality shines, like the sun. This is where your personality can shine. So you could keynote, for example, let's stay again with gate 17, gate of opinions. If you have this in the personality sun, you will shine through having opinions. Maybe it's the 17-4. Your personality will shine by having fixed opinions that can influence your network. You see, you can put the keynotes of the planets together with the gate, with the line, and so on, and even with your type. Is it in an open center? Is it in a defined center? Is it conscious, unconscious? All of this you can put together and really create an essay about you, about yourself, about your unique potentials. Okay? And obviously, every planet has different qualities. The Earth is about grounding, the Moon is about the emotions or about the focus of the mind when it's on the personality side. I don't know, Venus is about moral values. It's also about love. It's also about, society. Mars is a potential, but it's also very wild. And Pluto can be the deepest fear of you, and so on. You just right now wrote, so funny, I have 17-4 in the sun. Yeah, you see. Um, no coincidence. I don't know why I chose 17, but that's how it is. So I hope it gives you some insight in what planets mean in this context. It's not necessary that you need to learn and put this together, but it's very interesting. Because at the end, you look at the quantum in the middle, You don't need to know which gate is where. This is for analysis, when you really want to go deep and look for things. But if you want to experiment with human design, it's enough if you look at the chart and you see, okay, what type is it? What is the authority? Maybe what channels do you have? What life force is there? What potentials will be expressed that you can see as a signpost and see, oh, wow, this is something that is me. But you don't, if you want to experiment, you don't need to get lost in the mental world and understand all of those aspects about planets and lines and gates and where and what. This is not necessary. It's beautiful to look at, and it can be very interesting, especially for a 17, because it's logical, you know. So, thank you very much for your time, for listening and taking some time on Sunday to watch this bearded guy. And I guess I will upload this. Maybe I will cut it because there's some breaks and some weird stuff. Maybe I will cut it and upload it so everybody can watch it, because there were some interesting topics. Thank you for asking. Thank you for sharing. And if you would like to have more, please let me know. And then we can do a live every now and then. And I wish you a nice day, happy experimenting, and a nice week. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.